Something that I see in a lot of videos, and it's something that I used to obsess about, not for this weapon per se, or this object per se, but because it is central to martial arts, and that's lines. It's one of the most mundane, boring, ordinary topics in martial arts. It's something that, perhaps white through red belt in most systems, nobody would give, a shit about. But once you start talking about higher levels of training, black belt and up perhaps, the topic of lines becomes critical, because within the topic of lines there are a few other concepts, like distancing, the distance and the relationship of you to your opponent, the angles you might set between you and your opponent, and in particular, how the object you're wielding moves around you. So this is not a theme exclusive to soft weapons. It happens in all weapons across the board. If you're using a sword or a staff, a gun, lines are critical in that conversation. But there is no weapon that relies on lines more, needs lines more than a soft weapon, a rope dart, a meteor hammer. Why? Because, if you're swinging, let's say, a staff, or you're swinging a sword, the start and the end of that motion they're relatively fixed. Even if your lines suck, it's not going to hit, the blade is not going to hit you, the end of the staff is not going to hit you. When you're dealing with soft weapons, lines dictate where that weapon goes, and there is no start or finish to a technique, right? Rarely, unless you're dealing with literally a whip. But when you're dealing with something that's alive, soft weapon, there's no start and finish to the motion. That's why you see people doing, soft weapons or rope dart play or POI play, stuff that's continuous, right? All the flow arts have this kind of continuity, this fluidity to them. And that's because they keep going, right? Until they hit something or until they're redirected, they just keep moving. And so if you don't have your lines set and know where exactly you are trying to manipulate that tool, you're going to get stung, first of all. And second of all, you'll see this in a lot of videos, people just wield them slowly and awkwardly, and it's not very attractive to watch, and it certainly doesn't generate power if you're interested in the martial arts side of things. And so how might this look, right? You can pretty much pick your up-and-coming rope dartist or meteor hammer guy or whatever, name your flow art. And you'll see stuff like this. Like, it's kind of like a wishy-washy footwork, and the weapon or the tool is moving around in wider arcs, and it's slow moving, and it's kind of people picking up the pieces as they go, but there's no intention, there's no power in the movement. And this makes sense because a lot of people are focused on the manipulations and they don't have a core foundation to those manipulations, which is not just in the hands, right? It's an understanding lines, it's an understanding your relationship to that tool, and it's looking down at the feet, which will require a whole nother video, and maybe I'll do that in a little bit, but your footwork, your lines are kind of central. But so what do I mean by lines? I mean that if you don't understand that you're dealing with a weapon that has a central pivot point, which in most cases it starts with the hand, but beyond the hand, as soon as you start to turn that tool, you're using the elbow, you're using the shoulder, you're using the knee, you're using the foot, you're creating additional pivot points that take that weapon into a different line, right? So if I'm spinning out, away from myself here, if I just turn slightly toward the weapon, I need a much wider arc. And if I make any mistakes, that's going to wind up wrapping and hitting me, right? And so if I start to elongate and work off the center line, I'm able to tighten up that circle. Why does this matter? Speed, precision, and the ability to change lines and manipulate that tool even faster, right? So a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to take the time to break that down, but it makes all the difference to be working from, rather than here, right, working off to that line and working those extensions. Beyond that, we need to look at walking drills, line drills, moving, right? I used to obsess about this in my earlier years in basic training, and fortunately it transferred over well into soft weapons. But I used to go up and down football fields with low kicking techniques and certain types of footwork and alignment, because it gave me one clear line and a long distance to hit the same tool over and over with high reps. You got to train this way, right? So if you're consistently enjoying the flow of the weapon, more power to you. but that's not going to make you any better. And it's probably going to reinforce a lot of bad body mechanics and a lot of bad, manipulations. What will make the greatest difference is picking your 1 to 5 key tools, right? Your key manipulations that are linear and your basic turns, looking down a long line and hitting those basic drills over and over again, right? Understanding your lines. Because what you'll notice is a lot of people are doing this and they're kind of dance, the feet get offline, the weapon kind of turns. Once you understand where your line is, it's there. No deviations, it's not there, and you're trying to send the end of that tool or soft weapon through that same line, like if somebody held out a pad or a piece of paper, and your objective is to send that tool through that center line with every single step and movement, it generates an incredible awareness about where it is and how to get back to your center over and over. And from that line, then, it gets very easy to add in next level manipulations, turns, spins. So guys, I know it's been a while. This isn't the sexiest of all topics for soft weapons and flow art stuff, but it's critical. And if you guys are serious about learning, I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments section if you'd like any more of this kind of stuff. I plan to do maybe a few more on topic of some of the things that I've seen over the last few years where this stuff is gaining interest. More and more people are training it, which is just awesome. But with that, a lot of people are focused on not the wrong stuff, but they're not doing all the stuff that you need to make the right stuff look good, right? Or to make it work more effectively. So, yeah, we'll be hitting more of that. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.